embarrassing stories about Emily. But actually, when I started writing, it came out a lot more emotional and sappy than I was intending it to be. So bear with me on that. So I met Emily. Well, technically, I've known Emily since high school. She went to the rival high school that I went to. So I always saw her from across the volleyball net, and every year her team would beat our volleyball teams, but so bad. It was horrible. So my first impression of her was she was a super dominant beast on the court. And then flash forward to freshman year of college, I found out that she was going to be on my team. So she walks in through the gym, and I'm like, oh goodness, here comes this amazing hitter. How the heck are we going to play on the same team? This girl's going to hate me. Like, she's so cool. We get down to the weight room, she's like bench pressing harder than everyone. We go upstairs to the gym, she's taking out the second years, and I'm like in the corner like, you go girl, yeah. So I tried to keep my distance as much as possible, and that I think lasted for about a week. Because of course, if you know Emily, she's just the nicest, warmest human being you could ever come across. So I'm like, oh great, this girl is talented, and she's nice too. So we were at our first tournament, and I was freaking out. I was on the starting lineup, and I was so nervous. And all of a sudden, Emily looked at me, and she goes, hey, like, you got this. Go do your thing. Like, you're an amazing player. You go. And kind of from that moment on, she became my anchor on the team. So no matter what game or what tournament was going on, I could look to Emily, and I had to find a form of clarity and a form of home. And then pretty soon, that anchor position went from on the court to off the court. And Emily's been with me through breakups and makeups, moves across the country, late night phone calls, when we're up till 2 in the morning watching movies, making up stupid dances, eating junk food, and a whole bunch of cakes and cookies that we probably shouldn't be eating. But yeah, she became my best friend so fast and so fiercely. But I mean, if you know Emily as a human being, it makes a lot of sense, because she loves hard. There's certain people in the world that you meet that are just a light, that no matter how long or how far you've known them, they bring this sort of energy and warmth that you're a little bit better when you meet them. So Emily, is my best friend. She made me feel so much closer to Jesus when I've been around her. So yeah, she kind of just stepped into this role. Now flash forward a few years down the way, she's at St. Mary's, I'm at school in Nashville, and I get a phone call like, hey Alexa, are you going to be home this weekend? I'm like, I actually am. And she goes, cool, I'm bringing a guy home. And I'm like, oh, you're bringing a guy home? Okay, I've heard this story before. Who's the guy? And she's like, oh, you're going to love him. He plays rugby, super tall, and so nice. And I'm like, okay, we're going to see how this one goes. So they come up to Santa Clarita, we go to church, and I'm side-eyeing him the whole time. And then we go to sit down at lunch, and Emily's like, oh yeah, you can ask him anything. So I'm like, all right, game on. So I grilled him for probably 2.5 hours over Mexican food. I'm like, what are your intentions with my friend? And he answered every single question perfectly, and he laughed at all my jokes, which if you've been around me for more than 10 minutes, it's hard to do. And yeah, I mean, the same thing with Emily. From the minute that I met Billy, I'm like, oh boy, this one's gonna be around for a while. And just watching Emily and Billy together has taught me so much about what true love looks like, and how to have two people shine without dimming the other person's sparkle. And it's been so wonderful for the short amount of time that I've gotten to spend with them directly. It's just taught me so much, and I've grown so much watching them. So thank you guys for letting me be a part of your little world. And I love you so much. You are truly my best friend. Yeah, you bring me closer to Jesus whenever I'm with you. So thank you so much for being my right-hand man and my partner in crime and my junk food buddy. So if everyone could raise your glass, I'm gonna make a quick toast. So cheers to the happy bride and groom. I wish you a life full of blessings on your trip through Tahoe up to Atlanta. I cannot wait to see what your future has in store, and to come knocking on your door when you guys move to Atlanta, because I'm going to be there. Probably more often than you want me to. So, cheers!
Thanks.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Do you have some lighter, right? Oh, sorry.
You're supposed to do that. I forgot to do that.
And Alex!
Woohoo!